It's one of the great ironies of the way the American government is structured that the Senate is one of the least democratic institutions in the country. This has become increasingly the case as the filibuster, which is an old racist tool that was ostensibly implemented in order to encourage bipartisanship, has instead become a way to thwart the majority. It has especially become increasingly the case as blue states become more populous and red states become less populous. So we are at a point where the few 100,000 people in Montana have the same representation of the almost 40 million people in California. By the same token, the Supreme Court of the United States of America has become the most anti constitutional institution this country has ever seen. The corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court, under the auspices of Chief Justice John Roberts, continues its onslaught against the separation of powers, the co-equal branches of government, in an effort to create an imperial presidency, in an effort that is to create a unitary executive, to make Donald Trump so powerful that he is beyond the reach of Congress or indeed of the judiciary. Much like the Republicans in Congress, the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court is ceding its power to Donald Trump, to the executive branch he leads. It is kind of gobsmacking, and I sometimes wonder what is going on here. And we know for a fact that this would never happen if a Democrat were in power. Maybe they just finally saw their opportunity in not just Donald being in power, but having this weak, feckless, fascistic Republican Party willing to go along with it. I am not a lawyer. I am not a legal scholar of any kind. I'm certainly not a constitutional scholar. So I'm just coming at this as a layperson. While the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court is bending over backwards to give more and more power to Donald, while they are more than happy to put this one man above the law despite his vast criminality. Do they not see what's going on? Do they not see that the Trump regime is systematically dismantling the American government as we knew it? They are systematically going after what used to be, what we understood to be, protected rights, the right to due process, for example, being chief among them. And yet, it seems every day we get more evidence that this corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court is not done giving Donald and the executive branch yet more power. On Friday, they essentially okayed the executive branch's decision not to appropriate money Congress had already appropriated. That's illegal and unconstitutional. But according to a shadow docket ruling, the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court actually said that it's okay without much of an explanation whatsoever, because that's what shadow dockets do. They just give their ruling without really getting into the details. We needn't worry our pretty little heads about such things. Of course, the so-called liberal minority disagreed. Justice Elena Kagan wrote, quote, "In a few weeks' time, when we return to our regular docket, we will decide cases of far less import with far more process and reflection." She continued. She continued explaining, as if it needed to be explained, that part of the point of the separation of powers is that no one branch of government always gets its way. They work together, they work against each other in tension, in harmony, depending on what is at stake. What the corrupt illegitimate supermajority did with this shadow docket ruling was a desecration of the separation of powers. She continues, quote, "That is just the price." In other words, a president's displeasure with a decision made by Congress that is within Congress's constitutional right to make is part of the price of living under a constitution that gives Congress the power to make spending decisions through the enactment of appropriations laws. She added further, "It is merely a frustration of any president must bear," unquote. Not anymore, says the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court. Not anymore. We want Donald Trump to have all the power. We want Congress to be weakened to the point of superfluity. We want the judiciary to be weakened to the point, not of superfluity, no, because they still have tremendous power. But their only power remains undermining the founding document they, of all people, are supposed to defend and uphold. That's how far down this particular slippery slope we are. Let's dive in. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Mary Trump Live. It is great to be here with you. A lot going on today, considering it's, just Monday. Today, Donald met with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two released a so-called plan to end the war in Gaza, something neither one of them has any interest in doing. So I'm sure this will be fascinating. As usual, Donald spent a lot of time bragging about his fictional accomplishments. He sucked up to Netanyahu and, because he can't help himself, made a complete fool of himself. First, he claimed that peace is on the horizon when it comes to the war in Gaza. Take a look.
Things that have been going on for hundreds of years and thousands of years, at least we're at a minimum very, very close, and I think we're beyond very close. And I want to thank Bibi for really getting in there and doing a job. We've worked well together, as we have with many other countries, both of us, with many other countries, which is the only way this whole situation gets solved. And I'm not just talking about Gaza. Gaza is one thing, but we're talking about much beyond Gaza. The whole deal, everything getting solved. It's called peace in the Middle East.
I have a couple of questions. Did he just climb a mountain without oxygen? That's one question. And did somebody forget to wake him up? That's my other question. Yes, we are beyond close, whatever that means. And it's going to be the whole deal, whatever that means. But, he doesn't need to explain himself, does he? I mean, we've been here before. Donald claiming we're this close to peace. And then Netanyahu turns around to unleash more aggressive attacks in Gaza. Netanyahu has no respect for Donald, just as Putin does not. He's not interested in compromise. He just sees Donald as a useful idiot. As long as Donald is giving him what he wants, as long as Donald is giving him cover, as long as Donald is making sure the United States continues to give Israel aid without any conditions whatsoever, Netanyahu will play along. Netanyahu will even play dress up and dress like Donald on just for a photo shoot. We saw him on the cover, I don't remember, one of those magazines. I didn't know people read anymore. He's sitting there. Looks like he's on a throne in front of a world map, wearing, yes, you guessed it, a blue jacket, a white tie, and a blue jacket, a white shirt, and a red tie. Subtle. Donald then went on to make absolutely ridiculous claims about starting an international oversight committee. He would, of course, be in charge of this entity because, he commands the respect of all of the world leaders. Here's the announcement.
My plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it, the Board of Peace, sort of a beautiful name, the Board of Peace, which will be headed, not at my request, believe me, I'm very busy, but we have to make sure this works. The leaders of the Arab world and Israel and everybody involved asked me to do this, so it would be headed by a gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump of the United States. That's what I want, is some extra work to do, but it's so important that I'm willing to do it, and it'll be quite the board. Working, everybody wants to be on it now. I don't know if that had anything to do. They named me and everybody else wanted to be on it. I guess they figure, well, he's a soft touch. He'll be easy to deal with.
You'll be easy to manipulate, you moron. Is it called the Board of Peace? How many times did he have to say that? Board of Peace? Ah, fascinating. Board of Peace, beautiful thing. And yet the Department of Defense is now, at least according to him, the Department of War, which is it? Yes, I'm sure he's so busy. Like, it's going to cut into his golf time. Yeah, I have no idea what the point of this thing is. It's just another way to suck up to Donald without actually conceding anything, because he's so thirsty and so deluded that he actually thinks this means something. In much more important news, actually, a government shutdown, which would be entirely the responsibility of Donald and the Republican Party, is looming. But Donald doesn't seem to care, and I have some questions about that. But first, let's talk a little bit about this impending shutdown. So, and again, I think part of this is because Donald doesn't understand how the filibuster works or how Senate works. There are 53 Republicans in the Senate. There are 47 Democrats. Well, there are 47 people who caucus as Democrats. There are 45 Democrats and 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. So effectively, there are 47 Democratic votes. But there's this pesky thing called a filibuster. In order to bring a bill to the floor for an up and down vote, 60 people need to say, okay, let's bring the bill to the floor for an up and down vote. And then, in order to pass the bill, only a simple majority is required. So, the filibuster, 60 votes are required. It's so annoying. Cloture, which is the up or down vote. And then, if that were to happen, just as it did last time around, then the Republicans have all the votes they need to pass the bill, because they would just need 51. So last time around, the appropriations bill, same situation. The Republicans refused to negotiate with Democrats. Democrats got no concessions, and yet 10 of them, including every single Democratic leader, including, embarrassingly enough, both of my senators, voted with the Republicans. Got nothing, kept the government open so that Donald and the Trump regime could continue to dismantle everything that works about this government, could continue to destroy the civil service, could continue to destroy institutional memory, to continue to destroy our standing in the world, to continue to undermine every single advance we've made in medical and scientific research. Well done, Democrats. Well done. Well, here we are again. Same situation. No compromising. No agreements have been reached. Republicans need 7 Democrats. They've given up absolutely nothing to make it worth the Democrats' while to help them. And as I have said many, many times, even if they had shut it down, this government is much less dangerous when it is not allowed to govern than when Democrats make common cause with them and allow it to continue. Again, I don't think Donald understands this. He had a meeting with Schumer and Jeffries and was like, nope, I'm not giving you anything. So Why would Democrats? I understand Democrats want to make sure that people keep getting their paychecks and that Social Security offices are still open, et cetera. But at what cost? At what cost? Because this allowing the government to stay open on the Republicans' terms is to normalize all the horrors they're committing. So it looks like Democrats and those relying on government services are preparing for the worst. Because again, Donald just can't, either doesn't know how this works or cannot make a deal because despite the myths we've been told for decades now, he doesn't know how to make a deal. Here's CBS Detroit with more.
Lawmakers have until late Tuesday to pass a spending bill. Sunday, Education Department officials announced their contingency plan if lawmakers fail to pass a spending bill by late Tuesday. It says nearly 1,500 of its 1,700 employees would be furloughed. That includes most staff at the Office of Federal Student Aid.
It's a rare high-level sit-down between President Trump and the leaders from both parties, with thousands of government jobs on the line.
If the president at this meeting is going to rant and just yell at Democrats and talk about all his alleged grievances and say this, that, and the other thing, we won't get anything done. But my hope is it'll be a serious negotiation.
Democrats are demanding concessions in exchange for their votes to fund the government through mid-November.
I just think it's shameful that they're playing politics with all the services that the American people demand and deserve.
What Democrats are pushing for is to extend enhanced Obamacare tax credits, which are set to expire at the end of this year. If they are not renewed, average premiums on the exchange would rise by an estimated 75%.
Notices are going to go out in a matter of days, and it's going to be a shock to the system of everyday Americans.
Okay, it will be a shock to the system. Why? Because that's what Republicans want. That's what Republicans want. They want to take away basic and essential services from the American people, all under the guise of saving money, which means that they want that money to give to their rich cronies. They simply want to cut taxes for the obscenely wealthy and corporations. Despite the fact that the Republicans control every single branch of government, the executive branch, Congress, both houses, and the judiciary, they are making a pitch that somehow this is all down to the evil Democrats. All of their failures are being blamed by people like Mike Johnson on the Democrats. Good luck with that. This would be a most excellent opportunity for Democrats to understand that they have yet more power here. The power to win the messaging war. Because I don't understand if you make the argument properly and coherently and cogently that anybody could possibly believe that a government shutdown could be blamed on the party out of power. If Democrats can't do this, if Democrats can't make this a winning message, if Democrats cannot use a government shutdown entirely engineered by the Republican Party, then I think we're in trouble. Hopefully, they will stick to their guns, let this shutdown, and watch the Republicans flail and flounder and make it very clear that the last thing they give a shit about is the well-being of the American people. More good news. I mean, not that a shutdown is good news. Trust me, I know it's not. But it's good news that the Democrats are sticking to their guns. Just for a little bit of context here, so you don't think that I am just saying that I want the government to shut down so people can suffer. No. Last time around, back in March, the largest union representing federal employees basically begged Democrats in the Senate to allow the government to shut down because they believe that that would be less bad than keeping the government open as long as the Trump regime is in charge. We see what's happened. How many tens of thousands of public servants have lost their jobs and their livelihoods and their careers? It's going to be bad. The question is, which is worse? And I think that point has been proven. So again, I say, shut it down. The Epstein scandal isn't going away. Donald's trying mightily to distract us in many ways. All of them actually important in their own right. Like, it is important that he's just ordering the U.S. military to blow boats out of the water, murdering the people on board. That's important in its own right, but it is also a distraction. Potentially, this government shutdown is a distraction. I mean, part of me wonders, does he want the government to shut down? Because if he shuts down the government, then guess what? Can't bring a vote on the House floor about whether or not to release the Epstein files. Today, Axios reported that House Democrats accused Speaker Mike Johnson of delaying the swearing in of Arizona Representative Adelita Grijalva. Forgive my egregious pronunciation. Democrats say he's doing this because Grijalva will provide the 218th vote needed to pass the petition demanding the release of the Epstein files. For those of you who don't know, Grijalva just won a special election in Arizona, a seat that was vacated when her dad, Raul Grijalva, died a few months ago. As you know, the Republicans' majority in the House is razor thin, and now it's one seat smaller. So with Grijalva's election, Thomas Massie, who's a Republican leading the charge at the Epstein files released, would have enough votes. Johnson's cancellation of votes this week delays budget negotiations as well as Grijalva's oath of office. That's why he's doing it. He does not want this woman seated, even though not long ago he seated a Republican who won a special election. Johnson is the Speaker of the House. He's the third most powerful person in the United States government, arguably the second most powerful person in the United States government. And he is making sure the House of Representatives does not do its job for the American people simply to continue to protect Donald. Meanwhile, NBC News reports that today the Supreme Court convened for its annual long conference. This is where justices sift through appeals that accumulated over the summer recess. One appeal up for review is Ghislaine Maxwell's bid to overturn part of her 2022 conviction on charges of conspiring with Epstein to commit sex trafficking and raping girls and young women. Maxwell's lawyers say Epstein's non-prosecution agreement with federal prosecutors in Florida should have shielded her from one of her New York charges. Thus far, the DOJ has urged the court to reject this appeal, saying there's no evidence the Florida deal applied outside that district. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for 3 counts tied to her role in Epstein's crimes. So right now, the DOJ is on the right side of this issue. Will Donald's DOJ change its recommendation in order to give Maxwell a sweetheart deal in exchange for her silence? We know that in meetings with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, she claimed that Donald had no involvement at all in Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. I mean, how can she not be a reliable source of information? We'll see how this unfolds, but quite frankly, if the Supreme Court agrees to take this up, well, that's another warning sign right there. Is it really just Monday? I think we need to breathe. Absolutely. Breathe. All right. Luckily, we have reached today's emotional support moment. This is the last Monday of September, which means what? It's National Coffee Day, which is cool. My coffee machine broke, so I was not able to celebrate National Coffee Day with actual coffee. And quite frankly, that's good because it's harder to relax if you have too much coffee. Um, caffeine. I don't drink. I drink 1 cup of coffee, if that. But still, it's a nice thing to do in the morning. It is summer's over, by the way. It is autumn now, officially, and you can feel it. You can feel it in the air, and I don't know. I suppose it depends where you live, but most of the places I prefer to spend time, September and October are the most beautiful months of the year. And at this time of year, in places like in Tuscany, for example, and in the areas surrounding Rome, um, there are fields of sunflowers as far as the eye can see that tilt their faces toward the light. And this is a reminder to pause and breathe and enjoy the beauty and the warmth of summer as it begins to fade. So let's enjoy the scene from South Dakota via CBS. That's incredible. The reason I brought up Tuscany or Rome and Tuscany is because the only time I've ever seen fields of sunflowers like that was on a train ride from Rome to Florence, and it's just stunning, as you can see there. Okay, let us get to your questions, comments, etc. But first, we must hydrate. All right. Catherine, thank you so much. This is an I'm too caffeinated fee. Yeah, it happens. Followed closely. Lynn, thank you very much. By an I'm not caffeinated enough fee. Both of those are things that can happen. Catherine, thank you so much again. Cool. This is a mashed potato merch reservation fee. Hi, Mary. Hi. Yes, the merch is coming. I promise you. There are only so many hours in a day, and we're busy because there's a news cycle, you may have noticed, that never ends. It is literally like every morning, it's like waking up and finding yourself in the middle of a raging river. It's kind of what it's like. So it is coming. We're like this close. Well, no, sorry. I just had a flashback. When Donald's like, oh, yeah, we're more than close. What does that mean? But we really are close. So thank you for the mashed potato merch reservation fee. Greg, thank you as always. Comment, I need more beer fee. I can also understand that. YouTube settled the lawsuit with Donald. It would be very hard to boycott. Now what? Oh. Well, let's see. I didn't even know there was one. Lawsuit, that is. I am going to bite my tongue. Dorothy, thank you so much as always. This is a mashed potatoes rule fee. They do. One, I like eating them. And two, They have served a purpose, and they continue to serve a greater purpose. Just wait till you see this merch. Midas Cheryl gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Thank you so much, as always. And the Midas Cheryl twofer. You realize you're like locked into this forever, Midas Cheryl. Thank you. This is a Merry Monday Money. By the way, got my COVID flu shots. I hope you fared better than I did, but I'm glad because everybody should do that while you still can. And hopefully your insurance covers them because mine didn't. Laura, member for 1 month. Excellent. Potatoes for everyone. Mary Trump Media mashed potatoes. Yes, indeed. Nanner, thank you as always. Comment. I got up to get a soda, came back with a box of tissues. No soda. I do not need tissues. Save me. Well, I can't save you, but I can make you feel better. Yesterday, I had to go into my room to get something. And on the way there, I picked up something that I needed to deposit into my room. And I left without the thing I had gone in to get. And then I went back in to get the thing I wanted to get and got distracted by this other thing that I needed. So I got that thing and then left not having gotten it. That I'm not getting it happen 4 times. Stress will do it. The only reason I'm not worried is because I've been doing stuff like that forever. Laura, thank you so very much. This is 3 cats with potatoes fee. Love it. I don't think cats love potatoes, though. It's probably not good for them. Brittany is a super stickers. Thank you so very much, Brittany. And Julie, thank you very much as always for that comment. Hi, Mary and friends. Mr. Show yesterday fee. My 49ers were losing and needed me. Turns out I didn't help. Yeah, talk to my Mets about that. Damn it. Very disappointing. Susan, as always, thank you for gifting 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Most excellent. Michael, thank you as always. Question: do you think the Dems will get a message for 2026? I'm extremely worried we're going to lose. I mean, maybe part of the problem is that there's an embarrassment of riches. There's so many messages. So many. If they can't come up with a message, I mean, vote Democrat, don't starve. Seriously. I can't. Vote Democrat. Don't die from totally preventable diseases for which we have vaccines. I don't know. Make vaccines great again. I don't know. But it does sort of short circuit my brain. You know what? We're going to keep workshopping some ideas. That's what we're going to do. In the middle of nowhere, thank you so much as always. Comment: he's very short of breath, a symptom of CHF. I don't know what that means. Chronic something, maybe? He will enlighten us, I hope. He's not in good shape. No. He's also crazy. We're in so much trouble. Yes, all of the above. All of the above. Rebecca, member for 1 month. Fantastic. Comment: thank you, Mary et al., for keeping us company. Well, you were most welcome. Thank you for being here. Susan, again, thank you. Comment: Dems, grow a spine. Shut it down. Exactly. Have we learned nothing? We're going to find out tomorrow. Jeremy is a super sticker. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Joe, thank you as always. Comment: hi, Mary, you are on fire tonight, V. Thank you. Well, thank you. Yes, I was feeling a little heated. I'm feeling a little heated about these things. As we all should. But, kind of got to get a little bit more equilibrium. But I think it's okay to be heated sometimes. In the middle of nowhere, thank you again so much. Comment: if Donald made concessions and Dems unable to vote, he would renege on them anyway. Yeah, no kidding. They've already fired a ton of people. Why not a few more? I agree that there is an element of Epstein avoidance. Yeah, also, in what universe do we think that Donald and the Republicans are interested in saving the jobs of civil servants? They want to gut everything. His Divine Scotto, thank you as always for that. Oh, God. Comment. YouTube settled $24.5 million to Donald. Okay. Do we know why? I mean, you know. I feel like we should all just start suing people, like suing massive corporations, and they'll just pay us to avoid. I don't understand anything anymore. It's demoralizing, is what it is. But whatever. I mean, what did he sue them because like people make fun of him in their videos? Probably. Anaphylaxis, new member. Welcome. It's great to have you. Oh, Jana. Yeah. Comment. Here's emotional support for being a Mets fan. Did you see he promised to release the Earhart files? It starts with an E, right? LOL. Yeah, Earhart, Epstein. What's the difference? They both flew in planes. One second. Darth, thank you very much, Darth. Comment, sick, but still took Tylenol fee. As you should, because Tylenol is perfectly safe and under certain circumstances, very effective. Why isn't Tylenol suing him? Like, I don't get that. Isn't that like defamation or like, didn't there I don't know. Aaron is a member for 1 month. Most excellent. Question. Can you bring back Donald's healing voice? His actual voice turns my stomach. I know. It was a struggle. I mean, there was many people who didn't like it as liked it. And I think that we just kind of we made the point, and everything's very serious right now. And even though he's annoying and he's ridiculous and he should be made fun of and mocked, everything he says has massive consequences. And we just kind of felt like we should just let his words stand as he says them. But I do understand your point of view, and trust me, I too am completely sick of him. But honestly, altering his voice didn't help me. It was just as grating. So, Susan, thank you again. Wow. Comment, Mary, your Substack article, Dining with Serial Killers, was one of your best. Everyone subscribe to Mary on Substack, The Good in Us. Thanks so much, Susan. I'm quite fond of that article, and it's still relevant. And we actually turned it into a video because some new stuff unfolded. And again, it's relevant. So, Susan, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Aaron, wow, Aaron, thank you so very, very much. Gifted 10 Mary Trump Media memberships. That is most excellent of you. And finally for tonight, Pam, thank you, Pam. That's really generous and much appreciated. Comment, Mary, question, sorry. What if tomorrow's generals and Donald meeting is to declare war on all Democrats? Yeah, I honestly, I mean, I guess nothing would surprise us at this point. I think it's more about setting a tone and perhaps demanding fealty, which would be illegal, but I'm curious. But I'm more concerned at how dangerous it is to have all of our military leaders abandoning their post to go for this vanity meeting. I mean, it's a photo op as much as it's anything else, and have them all in the same place in Washington, D.C. That seems ill-advised. But what do I know? I'm not the Secretary of War. All right. Well, that was a lot. Thank you, everybody watching on YouTube, streaming on Substack and Twitter. To everybody listening to the podcast, thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Just for clarity, I mean, we could have seen this coming, but Donald alleged that YouTube unlawfully silenced conservative viewpoints, according to Reuters. Wow, the opposite is so. The YouTube algorithm overwhelmingly favors the right. Just saying. Not that we know anything about that. Anyway, to all of our new members, to everybody gifting memberships, all of our super stickers, and everybody giving us donations, thank you so much. Truly, you guys help us keep the lights on, especially while we're facing some challenges on, YouTube, which silences voices on the right, apparently. Can we sue them? Anyway, to our most excellent moderators for making this a most excellent place to be always. Just quickly, best way to support us, because again, we're hitting a bit of a wall. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We really want to get to 500,000 subscribers rather. Watch our pre-recorded videos every day. We have at least 2 every day, 7 days a week. Typically at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, before and after the lives. Like them, share them, comment on them, watch them. I think you'll like them. Truly. Also, oh yeah, merch is coming. Have I mentioned that? Yes. I promise you, it's happening this week. It's happening this week. There's been so much going on. What's the last thing? Oh my God, my team. My absolutely spectacular, almost absurdly hardworking team. Like, if you guys knew just how hard these people worked, hopefully you do, because they're just extraordinary. So thanks to all of you, always, for making things better than they have any right to be, quite frankly. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night for Mary Trump Live at 6 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget, that's Monday through Friday, every night. And that does it for us. In the meantime, until tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.